Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series as we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Well, today's chapters are Ezekiel 42 and 43. Now, in the last 9 chapters of the book of Ezekiel, the details of the new temple and its ministry are outlined. The return of the glory of God to Israel. Now, this is what happens. Ezekiel, in a vision, visits the land of Israel again. But unlike previous visits, he doesn't see the sinful people. He doesn't see the devastated land or the defiled temple. No. This time, he sees a new land and a glorious temple. You know, some theologians say this is once the new heaven and new earth is being created. Others say that this is during the millennium. But nothing is said about the veil between the holy place and the Holy of Holies. Why? Because the Messiah will be there, and there's no need for shielding his glory. He wants his glory to be revealed. And there's nothing said about the golden altar of incense or the 7-branch golden lampstands, because the altar of incense symbolized prayer. And now if God and Jesus is among his people, there will be no need for prayer ascending up into heaven like that. You see, Ezekiel had seen the glory depart from the temple, but now he sees the glory return. This is what chapter 43 says. Then a man brought me to the gate facing the east, and I saw the glory of God coming from the east. His voice was like the roar of rushing waters, and the land was radiant with his glory. Verse 10, Son of man, describe the temple to the people of Israel, that they may be ashamed of their sin. Let them consider its perfection, and if they are ashamed of all they have done, make known to them the design of the temple. And so this temple, in the end, in the very end, and when Jesus returns, will have no ark, no mercy seat, but the temple will still be God's throne. So you might say, well, why are all these offerings going to be taking place then, once Jesus has returned? Well, these offerings are symbolic, and they all pointed to Christ. They point to Christ's work, his finished work, what he's done for us, and they are like a memorial to him. You know, when I read these chapters, I can't help but think about what the glory of God, the weightiness of God, the presence of God means to us. I mean, Paul picked up this theme when he was writing to the church. He said, no, in the Old Testament, the Old Covenant, the glory of God was kept at a distance. Only the high priest would go in there every once in a while, and he would see, and he would have to go through so many rituals to make sure that he was covered enough, he was sanctified enough to go and encounter the glory of God. But the new covenant is different, and we have a taste of what it's going to be like to be with his glory for the rest of all eternity. In 2 Corinthians 3:7, it says this: Now, if the ministry that brought death, this is the old covenant, which was engraved in letters on stone, that's what Moses gave us, came with glory. Remember, Moses' face shone as he went into the glory of God, so that the Israelites could not look steadily at the face of Moses because of its glory, transitionary though it was. Will not the ministry of the Spirit be even more glorious? He's saying, listen, if Moses, when he was handling the commandments, encountered the glory of God, how much more the new covenant, the glory of God is made known to us. We are not like Moses, who would put a veil over his face to prevent the Israelites from seeing the end of what was passing away. He put the veil there so that they wouldn't see the fact that this was transitionary. And we all, verse 18 says, with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. And so the glory of God, the weightiness of God, the presence of God was encountered at a distance in the Old Testament. It's made known to us more and more now. But when Jesus returns, the magnificence of his glory and his presence is going to be something that just transforms our emotions, our spiritual state. It's absolutely glorious.